This is the July meeting of the City of St. Pete Beach Board of Adjustment and Appeal. If we could all rise for the Pledge of Allegiance. Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. If you're ready, roll call.
Member Lawson?
Here.
Member Chase?
Here.
Chair Skipper?
Here.
We have a quorum.
Thank you. First item is approval of the agenda, and since we have one item, is there any changes to that?
No changes.
Okay, so we'll move on.
So moved.
And
I think you have a motion on the table, Chair.
for the,
To approve,
To
yeah.
approve.
Oh,
Second.
motion and a second, any discussion?
No.
Not all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye. Is this where you'd want to do the swearing in at this point?
I can, sure. Anybody who will be speaking to the board today or making a presentation needs to be sworn in. Please raise your right hand. Do you swear or affirm that the information or factual representation that you are about to present to the board is truthful?
Yes. Okay, thank you.
And we just need to approve minutes.
Audience comments, if we have any. If you're here to speak, if you're here on your case, you don't have to speak at this time unless you'd like to speak on something other than your agenda item. Hearing none, we'll move on from that. We'll go on to the approval of the minutes.
I'll motion to approve the minutes from the June meeting.
Second.
We have a motion, we have a second. Roll call?
Member Chase?
Yes.
Member Lawson?
Yes.
Chair Skipper?
Yes.
Motion carries.
Okay, that'll move on to the action items. Case number 23025, 5575 Gulf Boulevard.
Good afternoon, Chair and board members. Kristen Coman, Senior Planner with the city. I'll just bring up the PowerPoint. Okay, our one and only case on for this afternoon is variance case number 23025. The applicant is Affordable Aluminum for Regency West Apartments 2 Association, and that is located at 5575 Gulf Boulevard. The applicant today is requesting an unnecessary and undue hardship variance for the replacement of an existing carport, which is approximately 8,596 square feet with a required side yard setback where 27.3 feet is required, with a 3.8 foot setback to the columns and 1 foot setback to the roof. Leading edge is provided. Listing of exhibits. Okay, the site is highlighted in green. It contains 110 condo units with amenities on the waterfront parcel on Boca Ciega Bay to the east, Regency West condos to the south, and Tradewinds Resort, which is across Gulf Boulevard to the west, and Skitter's Restaurant, as well as some single-family residences to the north. The property is located in the AC Activity Center District, as well as AC on the future land use map. Property survey, boundary survey, and it's approximately 3.13 acres in size. Here's in a large portion of the survey showing the location of the existing carport, which is going in the same location replacement. It's 1-for-1. Again, the applicant is requesting the setbacks for the side yard. Okay, and just getting you back on the site, notice was completed as required with the sign posted on July 19th. Another picture of it posted, and you can see the complex to the rear of it, and you can kind of see on the little left-hand side a portion of the existing carport. This is the parcel to the north at the entrance of Gulf Boulevard, which is Skitter's Restaurant. And also to the north along the property line where the carport currently exists, there's approximately single-family dwellings. I thought this was the easiest way to show you that. And I also put the two red lines that shows you the overall length of the carport. You will see there's some missing pieces of that white roof. So there are some portions that are currently have been damaged, but we'll get a little bit more into that. This is looking to the south, the Regency West condos, and from what I've been told, this is like a sister complex to this complex. Looking east to the beginning of the carport. And again, this is one of the two missing sections. I think approximately overall 9 spaces together is the total number of spaces that have lost the carport roof. Historical imagery shows that between October 2021 and March 2022, the canopies were destroyed, but the applicant could probably provide a little bit better information on that. Here's just another angle, again, single-family dwellings on the other side of the wall, just to show also the close proximity. Another portion of where the carport is missing. And this is again taken looking west toward the Tradesmen's Resort across Gulf Boulevard. Just another picture looking east along the drive aisle. Again, the applicant is looking to maintain the existing traffic circulation and drive aisle widths and parking space depth. So just basically replacing what is there to one that is continuous. The variance conditions for unnecessary and undue hardship. The criteria and comments that were located within the staff findings report. So with this being a commercial or a multifamily application, they are required to go to our TRC, or Technical Review Committee. The applicant should be prepared to provide their own testimony and respond to staff comments, which are, should the board not grant the variance, the applicant should provide testimony of how they would proceed. The applicant should provide details on if there is any tree trimming anticipated with the installation of the carport, as it was observed that portions of the tree canopies currently overhang and in some places are in contact with the existing carport roof. Staff also observed that the existing downspouts currently empty directly onto the parking lot at the location of the supports of the carport. The applicant should provide testimony on how water is to be mitigated and if additional measures to be taken to protect and maintain the parking lot surface, such as seal coating the parking lot. The applicant should comment if the recommendations from the TRC can be accomplished. From the June 5th, 2023 meeting, and I do apologize, in my staff findings report, I did put July 25th, which was not correct. My apologies for that inconsistency. Staff did recommend wheel stops to be maintained in each of the parking spaces underneath the carport, which are currently existing. Gutters and downspouts shall be installed to direct runoff away from the property line and towards the subject property. It is noted that this is shown to be on the construction plans, but we just would like to have confirmation. And the carport shall not be used for outdoor storage of any kind. Staff did observe various items stored between the wheel stops and the fence line while on site. So just again, car stops are there. We would like them to be maintained and remain. Here's just some examples of storage that was placed under there. Carport should only be used for, vehicles only. And here's just an example of the vegetation that was noticed. Just some information from the applicant of how they're planning to mitigate that and deal with it with the installation and just the maintenance of it. And that's the downspouts that currently exist, and you can kind of see the condition of where the water has gone through. There's cracking and some change of the asphalt surface. So with that, staff finds the request is reasonable as it is a replacement of an existing accessory structure and will not have an adverse impact on the neighborhood. With that, staff recommends approval of variance case number 23025 with the following conditions. Wheel stops to be installed if necessary and maintained in each parking space underneath the carport. Gutters and downspouts shall be installed to direct runoff away from the property line and towards the subject property. And the carport to be utilized by vehicles only and shall not be used for storage of any kind. That is what I have. The applicant would like to come up.
Any letters for or against?
I'm sorry? Oh, no,
Letters
we
for-
received nothing.
Right.
No.
Okay, the applicant would like to come forward?
Good afternoon. My name is Scott Walker. I'm the license holder for Affordable Aluminum Construction. I've been asked to come here and ask you for the variance for Regency West.
Could you give us your address, please?
My office address is 1990 Starkey Road, Largo, 33771.
Okay, thank you. If you want to, we kind of see what you want to do, if you want to just give us a...
All right, well, the plans do have the downspouts and the gutters on them. The roof will pitch from the neighboring property back into the asphalt area, so it won't pitch back towards the neighbors. Regency West does have an arborist on contract to trim all of those plants that are abutment plants that are hard to access right now where the carport is, and trim all of that back prior to construction. So the plan is to demolition everything that's there, get out of the way, let the arborist come in here and trim all of those vegetation that's a problem, and then come reinstall the carport as it was.
Does the plan call for reinstalling or keeping the car stops?
The car stops stay right where they are. The asphalt's not coming out. All it's coming out is the individual concrete piers, and the new one's going in there, so it'll stay as it says.
Looking to get a fence replacement, so they need the car stops.
There's like a masonry block wall between the two.
Right, without the car stops, the people will be running into the wall.
That's correct.
Right,
But each one of the 40 bays does have a stop on it right now.
okay.
As far as the outside storage, they've been noticed that that wasn't acceptable then. It isn't acceptable now.
All right. All right, anything else?
No, that's it.
All right, thank you.
Thank you.
I feel kind of silly asking if anybody else wants to object for or against. But hearing neither, we'll close it and open it up for board discussion.
If I may, Chair, if there's any ex parte communications you'd like to disclose,
No.
site visits or anything, if we could just,
No.
None.
thank you.
Okay. Open it up for board discussion or a motion.
I mean, it's very straightforward, particularly since there's no objections from the neighboring single-family homes, which would have been the only concern that I would have had. So I'll make a motion to approve case number 23025 as suggested by staff.
I'd second the motion.
We have a second. Any discussion? If not, roll call.
As suggested by staff, so inclusive of the conditions laid out, yeah.
Member Lawson?
Yes.
Member Chase?
Yes.
Chair Skipper?
Yes.
Motion carries.
Okay, thank you, sir. We have anything else we'd like to bring up?
What do you want to do with the next 45 minutes? No, we have nothing further. Unless
Anything
there's
for next month?
We do have one practical difficulty for next month. However, I do have 6 applications currently incomplete. So there are different stages, but they're looking to come in. I always get, when is the deadline? And if you did try to meet this past one, but unfortunately for one reason or another, or multiple reasons, they didn't meet the deadline.
So one case for August, but September will be busy.
More than likely, yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
Given that August might be light, I'd like to possibly suggest an agenda item. I'd like personally to get a fuller understanding of what administrative variances we might be able to authorize through the city when we see things that really tend to be more rote for us. For example, replacing window air conditioners with smaller, more efficient, quieter split air conditioning units. Might there be things like that that we could deal with administratively and not have the applicants go through the
That
formal
would be a
process?
city attorney question for us.
Yeah, we can definitely add it to, administrative
We do.
approvals was something pretty recent.
Yes, we do actually have administrative variances, but the sum of the differences, say it's a setback, cannot exceed 12 inches. So if you're looking for, say, a height and a setback, it cannot, the sum of them combined cannot exceed 12 inches.
That's the sum of whatever, it can't be more than 12 inches, right?
Correct.
You do that already, I believe.
We already do that.
Gotcha.
There really isn't a time savings. It still staff has to go out, make the report. There is that time period from the preliminary decision if it's in support. We do notice the neighbors. it's not really a time savings, but it's not before you. But I can say
Gotcha.
there are some in the works and have been in the works that you may not have been aware of.
Cool. I guess I was just wondering, after having done this for a few months, if there might be things that we could carve out and delegate that approval authority to the staff based upon the fact that this is a no-brainer and we are just costing the applicant time and money.
Well, one thing that I have to say from a staff perspective, when we see these multiple variances and they come before you and we see the decisions and say the deviations that are approved, we see trends. And once we see those trends, then we can go back and say, maybe we need to update our land development code because we're seeing this happen. Do we need to be more lenient? Do we need to be more restrictive? But that's where we see those patterns. So for example, our sheds or accessory structures, a maximum of 80 square feet. I don't know really where you find it, but you may see, you know, people want to build a bigger shed. So you may see those, and that's where we say, oh, we'll go back and we'll look at that, and perhaps we need to revise.
So if they come to you for an administrative grant, if you deny it, then it comes back here then?
No.
No?
I don't know if we've had one denied, but because it's an administrative approval, there's actually a process in our code where it would go to a hearing officer,
Okay.
which one of our special magistrates would be.
All right, so it wouldn't come
Kind
back,
of a mini trial internally, and then if they don't agree to that, then they can appeal to circuit court.
right, it wouldn't come back to us, it could go that route to a hearing officer.
No, but I mean, it's an interesting idea. You all could sit as, I mean, it's Board of Adjustment and Appeals. I mean, it could be, you know, I mean, that's something that we can entertain.
Something to think about.
It is.
Okay.
I mean, if we wanted to add the administrative variances, maybe staff could put together, and not to add to your plate, Kristen, but maybe a list of, you know, the last 3 months, what we've done, just so that you understand kind of, or maybe the last 4 or 5 months, what's been administratively approved via the variance, so that you can see kind of the things that they're dealing with. And then we can add the code on there just so you see, because the total of 12 inches is pretty hard.
Yeah.
I mean, if someone's moving a shed and they're 6 inches in the setback, then obviously that's something that's kind of de minimis. But we can definitely add it as a discussion item.
And the specific scenario that just made me think about it was these window air conditioning unit replacements, which they're old, they're noisy, they're not efficient. The split ACs are quieter, they're narrower, so even if the old unit was violating the setback and is grandfathered in, it seems. So I guess my question is, what would be required to make that particular issue not have to come to us? Would that be an LDC modification to carve that out, basically?
Yes.
Okay.
Correct. I mean, we saw a lot of generators too.
Yeah.
You know, you guys see a lot of,
You know, the generators.
which are not part of their initial plan. I mean, we try to get them to
I
do it when they're
definitely,
building.
yeah, if we, and
Right.
I just most recently had a new home come in, and for other things we went over, I said, where's your generator? And he goes, I'm sorry? And I'm like, well, we know that's gonna happen, so they are actually going back and the architect's taking another look. They said you can do an alcove, you might need to relocate it to the back, but if you build to the extent of your building envelope, you don't have that capability or that room.
Yeah.
And we're really, as staff, trying to hammer that through.
Gotcha.
So there's other things, once we notice regular things coming up, we try to address it through the administrative approval process as well. But yeah, we can gladly add it as a discussion item.
Cool, and I don't want to clutter the agenda, I was just trying to think of, you know, if there's a process that we can carve out, we start to see these patterns and then turn that into an LDC modification if it makes sense, or use an administrative variance process.
Absolutely.
But the air conditioning unit was the first thing that I thought, yeah, I'm not adding much
Those things
value
kinda make
here.
sense, right?
Yeah.
You want up to date, quieter. I mean, all around, you're probably going to say yes for the most part, so I totally get it. But I think a list of what we've done, right, so you can see some of the things that happen would probably be helpful as well.
That'd be great.
All right, anything else?
The only thing is we put the notice of the meetings for the remaining portion of the year. Do your best to try to notify us if you can, because the thing about the Board of Adjustment that we've noticed is we had one meeting canceled in February, but besides that, we haven't had a full board the whole year. And you know, you have to get 3 votes for the applicants, so if we need to move some meetings around or have a special meeting that works for everyone's calendar, we're willing to do that, but we're just trying to remind you of these dates, okay? If you could just take a look at them, we'd appreciate it.
Cool.
And I do
Okay.
appreciate, everybody was kind of like rocket speed when they replied this last time. That was awesome. So thank you very much for that.
Slow learners, but we're getting there.
All right, if there's nothing else, I'd entertain a motion to adjourn.
Motion to adjourn?
Second?
Any discussion? If not, roll call.
Member Lawson?
Yes.
Member Chase?
Yes.
Chair Skipper?
Yes,
Motion carries.
we're adjourned into the August meeting.